What is going on, all of you Pokemon hunters and I guess hunter's not the right word, catchers out there in the world? I'm Mega Hamster. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, I appreciate you being here. And today I realized I didn't really talk about, actually sit down and talk much about the Pokemon Legends Z-A trailer we got in the Pokemon Presents at the end of February 2025. And, I had a live reaction to it, but I didn't really talk much about it. And I wanted to take the time today to really go through my thoughts with it, because I've kind of had a bit of a reassessment besides the live reaction, rewatching the trailer, talking with some people about it. Shout out to Jared, you know who you are, man. Thank you for helping me see the light, if you will. I was kind of discussing more with other people and really taking some time to process my thoughts, because it's been about 2 weeks as of the premiere of this trailer, and I really wanted to dissect it a little more and give my thoughts as someone who's a pretty overall fairly casual Pokemon fan. I played the original Gen 1, I played Gen 7, I played Boras, the remake of Gen 3, and I played Legends Arceus, and I love Legends Arceus. I really, really do. To me, it was the most refreshing thing Pokemon's done in forever, arguably since they started the series, right? Really love the idea of going around catching Pokemon just by throwing Pokeballs at them. That alone, big changer for me. The environments felt more dynamic. There was more going on. Battles were... I don't love battling Pokemon, but they were at least a little more interesting. And then we have this follow-up. They're officially making Legends a series with Legends Z-A, taking place around, obviously inspired by Generation 6. We actually have some stuff to get into here that I'm going to mention later. But let's just jump into the trailer real quick and kind of talk about what we're looking at, because I'm not over the moon excited for this game. And this trailer has made me more excited for sure. When they first announced it, we knew almost nothing except for that it was related to Gen 6, and they talked about the Lumio City urban redevelopment plan, right? Otherwise, it was all just speculation. And I'm a lot more excited now seeing this trailer, but I'm still not fully sold. I want to be fully sold because I really love the Legends idea and I want to keep supporting this series, and it's a fun way for me to experience more Pokemon. But I'm still not fully sold. In terms of the graphical style, a big point of negativity I've seen from certain people, might be the vocal minority, probably is, on social media, saying that the art style looks very much like what you see with the more recent generation, 8, 9, so on, Pokemon, especially those two, on the Switch. And on one hand, I get it, because I love the stylized art style in Legends Arceus. The whole idea of ancient Sinnoh being in the Hisui region, everything is almost prehistoric. It takes place in the past. Even the Pokeballs are manual. They have little latches on them. It's that's really cool. And I will say I'm a bit bummed to see that this style seems to be more of a present day kind of look. But we can't judge a game based on its looks. At the end of the day, it's a game. Gameplay is the priority here. And I personally don't mind this look. Like I said, it is less stylized, of course, than something like Legends Arceus. But if a game is fitting into the time period that they're putting it in, that makes sense. It's totally fine with me. And we have some theory to believe that this does not take place long after the events of Gen 6. We'll get into that in a second here. Love to see all the evolutions here. I think they were all in Arceus, but I could be wrong about that. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is interesting to me, because one thing that I actually really liked about Legends Arceus was the fact that you had a hub base, and then you go out into these, I think there were 5 of them, kind of biggish areas. The game is not open world by any means, but it has these massive set areas you can explore. Open zones, something like a Sonic Frontiers. They're pretty much in the same category there. This seems to be taking a slightly different approach based on these gates that we're seeing. Based on what we're seeing, these seem to be separate zone, smaller zones within Lumio City that you go into. We were speculating going into it, how are they going to do this? How is this game going to take place within just within Lumio City? And this seems to be the way. You have these smaller separate zones. I'm wondering if they're going to be almost like safari zones. No idea how big they're going to be, but it seems like they're more gated off areas that you will go in and be able to catch Pokemon, complete objectives in there. And then explore the rest of the city on your own. It seems like there's still going to be Pokemon about in the city, it looks like, but it seems that there are these separate areas here. And the whole city aspect seems to be a big feature, which is cool. I mean, so it's almost like, oh, Larvitar and Bagon, love to see him. It's almost like they're going to be you're going to be exploring the city a lot more than you're in these separate zones. The trash Pokemon, Chandelure, Sylveon, I think most of these were in Legends Arceus. I hope they change it to Pokemon more. To be honest, I completely forget. Um, and now the interesting choice of the starters. And I've seen a lot of complaints about there being two Gen 2 starters in here and the one Gen 5, like there's not as much variety. And I've also heard the argument from Pokemon experts that I'm friends with, shout out to you, you know who you are, who have mentioned that these three starters in particular need the most shakeup when it comes to Mega Evolutions, which are being brought back in this game. When it comes back to just like meta changes for the competitive scene, apparently these three are some of the top contenders for the ones that need the most variety. And if you think about it, yeah, it makes sense because Gen 1 starters have always been pandered to, and a lot of the other starters as well have been kind of recognized a lot. But especially Chikorita and Totodile, like, I mean, I'm not as familiar with Gen 5, so I'm not sure about Tepig, although, to be fair, I've never seen much of Tepig, so maybe that's the reason why, because they're just not really, they haven't been, like, given a more modern kind of coat of paint. And in that aspect, I think these are cool choices. You know, I love Totodile. Totodile's great. I'm probably going to go Team Totodile here. Let me know which starter you're thinking about picking in the comments below. Chikorita, I know a lot of people really don't like Chikorita. I like Chikorita. For me, my least favorite of the three Gen 2 starters, but still, like, I don't know. I like Chikorita. Tepig, interesting Fire Pig design. I kind of think that's pretty cool. I don't know. I think these are pretty solid starter choices. I know, like, you have two Gen 2 reps, but, like, that's, I don't know. That's okay. In that context of shaking it up, adding more modern design sensibilities to them in the present day, like, that makes sense to me. So I'm totally fine with that. That's cool to see. And, like, you know what? Give them some more love. You know, give them some more love in a modern context. But I'm definitely going Totodile. There's no way I'm not. I ended up doing, in Arceus, I did Rowlet with the Decidueye. That was pretty fun. And this one here is cool too. Then we get some designs for characters. The character designs are pretty good. Obviously, also taking some inspiration from Generation 6. Now, the reason why, so Urbane and Tawny, very funny, Towny. The reason why, okay. I don't know much about Gen 6. I have not played Gen 6 yet. Apparently, why some people have been telling me that this game takes place shortly after Gen 6 is because of this character AZ and this Floette that you see. And there's something lore-wise, I'm not going to say anything else because first of all, I don't know anything else. Second of all, I don't want it to be a spoiler for people who haven't played Gen 6. There is something about these two uniting or reuniting in Generation 6, where this seems to be a follow-up to that game, which is interesting because then it's not taking place like eons before. There we go. Okay, I was gonna say it's not taking place forever ago like it was with Arceus. There's no pattern established there now. This is like, you know, Legends can take place at any point relative to a game, which is kind of cool. I don't know. I think it opens the door for potentially like having a futuristic game in the future. You know what I mean? Like I think this to me means that Legends can be anything that is an extension of the lore of an existing game. That's what I get from this, which is cool. I like that idea. It doesn't have to take place in the past. And this one seems to take place almost in present time, shortly after the events of Generation 6. Which is cool. I mean, we could be wrong, but that seems to be the case, based on what I've heard, what I've seen. Jet and Vinny, shout out. AZ's huge. He's so tall. So yeah, that's cool to see. These gated areas I'm very curious about. Like, so there's like this zone you walk into. Yeah, people and Pokemon coexist, but then you see we got Magikarp in there. Wild zones, they're calling them. So I don't think it's quite like the wild areas from Generation 8, and definitely correct me if I'm wrong about that in the comments, but it seems to be like you walk into these specific areas to where you can catch specific Pokemon. But then again, some of them seem to be like, because this say wild Pokemon habitats, like within the city itself is a weird concept, because it almost seems like it's like within the city, like you would expect to see people in these wild zones too, but apparently not. I don't know. We'll see. Oh no, you do see people. So I'm curious exactly how this is going to work. So we'll see. We get the map there, the inventory of the 6 Pokemon. And of course, you see the throwing, the aiming. I love it. I'm assuming Gyro's going to be back. One of my favorite things about Legends Arceus. So I'm glad to see that back, of course. That is going to stay within Legends. Okay. We need to start talking about the battle system, because we get a little bit of a time here to see it, because we can see the UI here where we have the 4 moves on the side and then you have all the Pokemon to select down here. This almost seems to be more of a real-time battle system from what I've discussed with people, which is very, very interesting. I want to wait until we get to the big clip to showcase this. the whole pop-up menu. Like, it looks like a bit of a cluttered UI, but I mean, I'm sure it's in progress, and I mean, hopefully it'll work out in the long run. But here we go. Okay, this is where it really starts, because we start from this angle. Almost reminds me of Pokémon Tournament a little bit with the angle here. But then you start behind. Now, what's interesting is that in Legends, you can move separate of your Pokemon, but your two Pokemon were pretty much static facing each other in battle. Here, we can already see that Tepig is moved in front of, I forget the trainer's name, in front of them, and you're moving separate from Totodile. So we already see that. But what's interesting is if you pay attention here, there's going to be a little ring that moves underneath Totodile. Watch this. Watch this. You issue the command. Your player issues the command. I think it's Water Gun in this case, probably left on the D-pad or whatever the equivalent is. And then once it reaches your Pokemon, it executes the move. And it looks like it takes some time to recharge the move, which to me is leaning more towards something like a Xenoblade Chronicles. In terms of the recharging moves, a more real-time system. I've seen that kind of battle system speculated from fans. That could be pretty cool. I don't love Pokemon battling in the sense of like the traditional Pokemon battling. This to me seems a lot more, I don't know, a lot more interesting, a lot more engaging. Like it's less of like sitting through and choosing things in menus and waiting, and more of like, all right, this Pokemon's available, let me issue this command to this Pokemon. And what's interesting is that this implies that the farther away from a Pokemon you are, the longer it takes to issue a command. So like, because we see that traveling ring, so maybe you're off on one side of the arena, your Pokemon's on the other side, so it gives you more of an advantage to be closer to your Pokemon when they attack. Then again, maybe it leaves your player character up to damage from the attack, I don't know. So that's kind of cool. So it seems like you want to stick by your Pokemon regardless of where you move. The other thing that I'm very much wondering here is because of the bottom left, we saw this was like a list of all the Pokemon in your party. We see here, this is a list of all the Pokemon, the 6 Pokemon you have in your party. And I'm wondering, and we get to see it here too, in this other battle. I'm genuinely wondering if you can use multiple Pokemon mid-battle and just like switch between them, because we see here your player character issues that command to Lucario and does the protect move and all that, but we see the UI open for all the Pokemon here. This was not visible in Legends Arceus from what I remember. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but the UI was a lot more minimal in that game, and you could argue, yeah, it's a little more cluttered here, but I don't know, I think having this menu style, I think, is going to add more flexibility, more options. To be able to have a more real-time combat system, I think that's a really neat idea. I really like the battle system in games like Xenoblade Chronicles, and so to have that implemented here, maybe some Monolith Soft inspiration bleeding through, I'm sure they're helping with this game, that's great. I love that. But like the menu selection here of the other Pokemon, to me, and this is just a theory, it's not confirmed, but this to me means you can use multiple Pokemon in battle. Or at the very least be able to switch between them pretty quickly. That's what I think is going to happen here. We'll see for sure. I'm sure they're trying to hide that from people, so it's not super obvious. But you see like Pokemon not necessarily being immediately with you, but they generally follow you. So I'm curious to see. I mean, we see Pokemon switch on the fly right here. That's super snappy, you can see here. So maybe that's all that menu is for, but it's still really neat to be able to just, rather than select an option to switch still, you just select on the bottom left, boom, switch to your next Pokemon, just put them right in. Like, it really seems like more of a real-time system, which is super duper cool. That to me, I did not notice that aspect on the first watch of this trailer, and then once I watched it a couple more times and really started to grasp what was happening, I'm like, now I'm more excited. That, I think, to me is the most exciting part about Legends Z-A, is the overhauled battle system. It seems even more dynamic and fluid than ever. That I'm very much looking forward to. Before this trailer ends, we get a little more look at a confirmed Mega Evolution's coming back, which they teased in the initial teaser trailer, but we didn't get confirmation of it, but now here we have it, which is super duper cool. We have Mega Ampharos, we have Mega Charizard X? Or is that might be Y, let me know in the comments below. And then Mega Kangaskhan, which is cool to see. So they're bringing Mega Evolutions back. This is a good excuse to do it. Mega Absol here. I still hope they have regional forms. You know, with Hisui, we had all the Hisuian forms. It makes me wonder, because it takes place in Gen 6. I'll be curious to see if they add them. I really hope they do. because that's one thing that makes the game fun, especially the newer games fun, is like seeing new forms of old Pokemon change up the typings and everything. I hope it's not just, oh, Pokemon are getting new Mega forms. Glaceon, I love it. You know what I mean? I hope it's like new, just regional forms as well. We'll see. Seems like we have yet to see that, but I'm very excited about this battle system here. And seeing the Mega Evolutions is really cool. That is probably my favorite gimmick, if you will, out of all of them. The Z moves in Sun and Moon I actually kind of liked. I've just Gigantamax and the Terrestrialization Gen 9. Like, I haven't played Gen 8 or 9, but just on the surface level, they don't seem super interesting to me, especially the Terrestrialization, whatever it's called. I think it's like that in Gen 9. It's just like, it doesn't seem as creative with the different forms, you know? So, gameplay, maybe it's good, but Gyarados, we got a Fletchling, and yeah, there's that map again that we saw during the redevelopment plan. The Zygarde cells I'm also excited for, because as someone who played through Moon and really enjoyed collecting the Zygarde cells in that game to power up your Zygarde and get the new forms, I think doing that in 3D, I imagine that's what we're going to be doing as well on the side, is collecting all these Zygarde cells like in that game. That's fun. I want to build up my Zygarde. You know, I hope it's not story-based. I hope it's like, as you unlock an area, you can like climb on top of buildings like we saw, find Zygarde cells spread about, and be able to build them up. I hope so. I really hope so. I think that's going to be the case, but we'll see. Because I like that concept. It adds an extra collectible as someone who loves collectathons. And then we get one last look at Prism Tower, and then the whole late 2025 thing. And before I end this video, to me that means Switch 2. To me that means they've already confirmed it's going to be on the original Switch. They've said it's coming to Nintendo Switch as they do here. So it has to release on Switch 1. Late 2025, if the Switch 2 is getting fully unveiled in April, we're probably going to get a release date then. To me, this means it's going to be backwards compatible, no doubt. It's probably going to have a Switch 2 specific version, I'm guessing. Time will only tell for that, but it's definitely going to be backwards compatible with Switch 2, which this will be a great game to play on the Switch 2. So I am looking forward to that. And I believe, oh, did they give a little teaser at the end here? I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, they give this little teaser for the Rotom. I forgot about this, so I don't know how Rotom's going to be factoring in here with this. Yeah, promotion match announcement. I don't know exactly what that's about. It might be one thing that I was thinking of is like this battle tower thing in Pokemon. Let me know, competitive Pokemon fans. Maybe it's related to that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I don't follow the competitive Pokemon scene. I don't love the battling, like I said earlier. So I don't know exactly what that could be. But yeah, I mean, overall, everybody, that's going to do it for this kind of general, almost like an analysis, more like an impressions video about this game. Because I'm definitely, upon watching this trailer more and more, I'm more excited, especially by the battle system. That getting a huge overhaul. I did not expect that, and honestly, it looks refreshing in that regard. I might actually enjoy battling a Pokemon more now. But otherwise, the game looks like it's going to be good. I don't fully understand the negativity behind it, but if you're feeling negative about this game, definitely let me know in the comments below why you are. I'm looking more and more excited. I really just want one more trailer. Give me more of the story. Give me regional forms. Give me something else, more of the battle system. Show me something, new environments. Show me that, and I'm sold. So definitely we'll see. I'm sure we'll hear about it in the coming months before launch. But maybe even at the Switch 2 presentation in April, who's to say? With that, everybody, that's going to do it for this general impressions video of the Pokémon Legends Z-A trailer we got. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like I said, how you feel about this game. How do you feel about the NPCs, the idea of it being in a city, the new battle system potentially, the new Mega Evolutions. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on everything we've seen here. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next video or live stream. And until then, gotta keep catching them all. We got more. Hopefully we get more regional forms to catch in this game. See you later.